listening to the Patriot Nation Podcast.
All right, welcome into another edition of the Patriot Nation Podcast. As always, a proud member of the CLNS group of podcasts. Make sure you download, subscribe to all of the shows on the Patriots Press Pass YouTube channel, and also on all of our CLNS shows. We have the Red Sox in the playoffs. We have the Celtics coming back soon. We have the Bruins coming back soon. Make sure you get on and subscribe to all the great shows on CLNS. But tonight, it's your guy Pat Lane with my man Matt St. Jean on the Patriot Nation Podcast. And Matt, it just it feels so good to get a nice, easy home victory.
I just like today is like I feel like one of the best Boston sports kind of felt back to that. Like this felt like 2013 again or something. Like
right.
Pat's a blowout victory while the Red Sox get a win to like clinch playoff seeding. Like very nice duo there. Obviously things did not start out so hot today. And that switch flipped, and Pats were off to the races and buried a bad team as we were hoping they'd be able to do.
I will tell you, I'm not sure. We'll look back on this day, and I guess then we can kind of decide at that point. So I don't know if it totally changed the season. I can tell you for a fact that the Marcus Jones punt return completely changed today. Mm-hmm. The Patriots were lifeless. They came out, and Carolina, who's a bad offense, drove right down the field with zero resistance on the Patriots on that first drive. They didn't even face a third down on that first drive. 7 plays, 76 yards, straight down the field, touchdown. And it was like, oh, my God. And the Patriots get the ball, and they looked terrible in their first possession. And so then the Panthers get the ball back, and they're moving again. And they get stopped, right around midfield. And they punt to Marcus Jones. And I'm telling you, it's funny they said it on the broadcast, because obviously I wasn't listening to the broadcast because I was there. They said on the broadcast, but looks like no
fair catch.
Looks like no fair catch. And I was like, Marcus Jones is a crazy person. He doesn't fair catch. Now, he fair caught once last week, and I think he was like explicitly told to fair catch. Like, he refuses to fair catch the ball. And so he didn't fair catch, broke a tackle, and just immediately took off to the races. And, oh, my God. It's just so good.
Well, and that was like just individual effort. It's not the Patriots. There's nothing wrong with their blocking per se on it, but that's not why the return happened. The return happens because Marcus Jones makes a smart play, breaks the tackle, and the Panthers have no discipline whatsoever. And like, especially you watch the replay of it, it's like, man, he makes one guy miss, gets like 5 yards up the field, and he's like every Panther is behind him but the punter. It's just insane how poorly Carolina misplayed it. But that, this is why he's a captain. That kind of individual effort to turn a game around to something they needed. Heroic play from him. It has to be the play of the game right there.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, completely changed the game. And as James says, that's right, on the wall right behind me, a signed Marcus Jones jersey.
Good day for it.
The funny story, and I've told this story before on the show, but the funny story with that jersey is that, I had him every year. I pick, a guy, or this year I picked multiple guys, but that are like my guys in day 2. I picked Marcus Jones to be my guy. The year that he was drafted in 2022, and I had them picking him in the third round. They pick him in the third round. And I said to my dad, walking into the Jets game, I go, if Marcus Jones ends up taking one back for a touchdown, which I think he's gonna at some point this year, if he ends up taking one back for a touchdown, I have to get a Marcus Jones jersey. And they literally won the Jets game with a Marcus Jones punt return touchdown. So the next week or so, I was in the pro shop getting a Marcus Jones jersey, which I had to personalize. I had to custom make the Marcus Jones jersey because they didn't have Marcus Jones jerseys. But nevertheless, it was awesome. And you're totally right. That is definitely the play of the game. And to me, it just flipped the game on its head. When you looked at it and said, man, this could be rough. This could be, a bad game against a bad team, and he has the punt return, and the Patriots respond by completely stopping. I mean, Carolina had, I think, they had over 100 yards of offense in the first two drives.
Yeah.
They had a 91-yard touchdown drive by Andy Dalton and the backups, right, against the Patriots backups. They had like 326 yards of total offense. So if you take away those 100 and then add the 91, there's like 200. They had like 120 yards of offense outside of the first two and the final drive, which was in garbage time. Yeah. So in that kind of middle portion of the game, they completely shut down the Panthers offense, and the Patriots offense, on the other hand, started going and started looking good, and were making plays left and right, and Drake Maye, I thought, looked fantastic, and so that really just changed the season for me. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think one of the odd things watching this game was when you watch the way the first quarter goes, and Carolina outplays you for almost all of the first quarter, and then at the end of the quarter you're winning, and Drake Maye has thrown the ball one time.
Right.
That was it's like 1:45 p.m. and Drake Maye's thrown it once. So like, all right, what's going on here? But no, just. I think this team has an issue with getting off the bus and starting games. But, it gets a team like Carolina. If all the other possessions are the way they were today, it doesn't really matter that much.
Right.
Marcus Jones is your player of the day. That punt return, he had another long one, set a Patriots record for most punt return yards in a game. So I was curious about this. First of all, they have some notes on Patriots.com. So Marcus Jones had 167 yards today. The previous record was Mike Haynes in 1976 with 156. The next one is Gunnar Olszewski at the Chargers in 2020 with 145.
There you go.
And the first thing that goes off in my head is where's Troy Brown and where's Julian Edelman?
Right.
So I looked them up because I was curious. Troy Brown's best game of his career was 125 punt return yards.
Okay.
That was the win against the Browns in 2001.
Okay.
27-16 win in that one. He also had second highest was 118 at home against Tampa to start the 2000 season. That was Belichick's first game in New England. That was Troy Brown's second best game ever as a punt returner, which is kind of crazy to me. And then Edelman's best, 117 yards against the Colts in 2012. And then he also had 112 against Miami it's January 2011, at the end of the 2010 season.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't, usually what happens is even if you break one for a touchdown, you usually don't have multiple long returns. And that's where, you get your 167 yards from, because he's got an 88 one for a touchdown, and he's got a 61-yard one later on. And I think that, the 61-yard one was awesome because he actually had room, and he went all the way across the field and clean blocks everywhere. And the punter made a play. The punter made a nice play to just kind of throw his gate off enough that he tripped and fell. And that was enough, and so we'll see. Jack's asking the question. Marcus is not on the kick return as well.
Different skill set.
Very different skill set. I think, it's funny because the kick return has turned into almost a running play. And I think that's why you see running backs out there more often, because it is kind of like a running play.
Well, not just a running play, one with a lead back.
Yes.
You have to run behind someone. Like what Marcus Jones does so well is as a single runner, he's able to find lanes on his own. And on the kick return these days, you need to know how to follow a blocker. So it's just a different skill set there.
Right.
I also think what makes this Marcus Jones one like the reason his yardage total ends up getting so high, like you don't usually see punt return touchdowns for 80 something yards.
It's
Like
true.
the most punt return touchdowns I feel like are usually in that 50 to 60, somewhere there. Like the 61 yarder he has, 61 yards a lot of times that is the punt return touchdown.
Right.
That is your long one. So the fact that that's his short one that isn't a touchdown, like that's
Yeah.
and that's we talked all week about Carolina's special teams and how that was going to be an issue potentially. And the Patriots dominated there. Ryan Fitzgerald misses a field goal, doinks an extra point. Carolina's punt coverage allows a touchdown and another big return. And I don't really remember Carolina's special teams doing anything productively in the return game.
No.
Like that's
Except,
Patriots,
you know what, though? They did have that one time where Trevor Etienne fielded the ball at the 2-yard line and then got tackled immediately. That was a nice play by the Panthers.
That was hilarious.
What are you doing, dude? It was insane.
Do you remember that play? I want to say it was 2017 or 2016 against the Chargers at home. I'd still remember it vividly because the Patriots punted and the returner for the Chargers caught the ball at like his own 10-yard line, and then to evade tacklers ran backwards.
I remember
got
that.
tackled at his own 1. It would have been right in your end zone too.
It was. It was in my end zone. It was ridiculous. I remember watching it where is this guy going? Where are you going?
And that's what popped into my head on that one today. It's like, why you don't interact with the football at this point? There's just no benefit to touching it.
Right.
Hilarious.
Absolutely crazy. Yeah. So, but outside of obviously the Marcus, by the way, I don't want to gloss over the fact that, and it's not your fault. You were skeptical that he would make the roster.
It wasn't just me.
I know it wasn't just you, but you're the only one on the show that I can talk to directly. There were lots of people that were worried about it, and listen, rightfully so, because Mike Vrabel historically likes bigger defensive backs, right? And that is not the case, right? That's obviously what he isn't, clearly, right? And so, but the dynamic nature that he brings to the punt return, first of all, and the way that he plays the game. He does not play the game like a 5'8", 190-pound corner. He just doesn't play it like that. He's tough. He's physical. He plays the run hard. And so I think that, those things. And then obviously you see him made a captain this year. That really kind of, I think, accentuates the point of how important he is to this Patriots team and what Vrabel thinks of him as a player and as a teammate.
Well, there was a moment late in the game, somewhere late in the second half. It's a 3rd and long for Carolina, probably third quarter. And Patriots are up. The other team's got to throw. And it's Marcus Jones and Kyle Duggar out there being the ones calling out coverages and getting ones on the same page. And that was a moment of, okay, things are rolling right now. We have the lead, and it's our veterans and the guys you want to step up as leaders who are getting everyone on the same page. You've got Marcus Jones out there lining up Christian Gonzalez for where he's supposed to be.
Right.
So, what Marcus Jones has brought with his intangibles, exceeded my expectations. When he came, there's a lot I liked about Marcus Jones coming out. And I don't think intangibles were something that was ever talked about positive or negative. So the fact that he has blossomed into this guy in that locker room, huge props to him for it. And definitely a part of why the defense had such a good day today.
Yeah, 100%. And the defense started out, as I said, so bad, but they were able to recover. And I think that that's important. And one of the things, and I guess this is kind of a big picture take for me, but one of the things for me that I've seen from Mike Vrabel is that we're starting to see the quote unquote Vrabel way in action. And I think one of the big things about Mike Vrabel and about the way that he wants to run this team is that he puts a premium on guys being mentally tough and sacrificing themselves for the football team.
Yeah.
And, for me, I go back to week 2. They win week 2. Borregales misses 2 extra points to start the game and then hits a long field goal to make the lead 6 at the end of the game. It was a big field goal for the Patriots. And, it changed what Miami had to do on that final drive, right? And, of course, the Patriots ended up winning. But he gives Borregales a game ball after the game. Now, here's a guy that missed 2 extra points and is getting the game ball because he was mentally tough and because he pushed through those things. Ramondre Stevenson had maybe one of the worst games you'll ever see last week. What does Vrabel do? Vrabel gets up in front of the media and says, we need him. He needs to be better. What do? They start the game with a run to Ramondre Stevenson. Now, Ramondre didn't play a ton today, but he played a good amount.
Well, he led the running backs in snaps today.
He did lead the running backs in snaps, you're right, and he led the running backs in carries as well. I think he had, 9 carries, I think. But either way, but you're right, he did lead the running backs in snaps.
They didn't give him the ball down near the goal line.
That's very true. That's very true. They did not. But to me, that was kind of that message. And by the way, the same exact thing with Pop Douglas. They took snaps away from Pop Douglas. They, kind of moved him into that reserve role, which is kind of what we were hoping they would do. Kyle Williams maybe didn't get as many snaps as we wanted, but nevertheless, right? They kind of flip-flopped him and Kyle Williams. And Vrabel made it a point to mention Pop Douglas at the end of his press conference, talking about him making 2 great blocks that sprung Hunter Henry for his touchdown. And that's the type of thing that, okay, Pop Douglas maybe isn't catching balls. Maybe he's not making a huge impact catching the ball on offense. But he's staying with the program. He's staying out there even though he gets bumped down and isn't playing a lot. That's exactly the type of thing that he's trying to do. And he's pumping those guys up as much as he can to kind of keep them engaged and keep them part of the team and let them know that, that's what's important to them.
Well, and I think this is something I think one of the things that shocked me today, not just Ramondre Stevenson starting, but also Christian Ellis starting. There seems to be a pretty common theme here with Vrabel of, especially with this group, willing to give you some leeway on the mistakes, willing to give you opportunity to go rectify it on the field.
Right.
Which is, I think, a good, as long as you're consistent with it.
Correct.
Hammering the messaging home. I think it's a great way to develop young players, to give them the opportunity to, not, you don't want to go out there and every time be so afraid of making a mistake that you never make a good play.
Of course.
I will say, I think Christian Ellis got benched or his role reduced again, I think this year, Ramondre Stevenson didn't fumble today and they kept giving him the ball. Christian Ellis had the same issues he had last week when he got benched, and they immediately put in the backups and things got better. So we'll see how that looks next week. I'm curious because especially you got to go against the mobile quarterback and Josh Allen next week. Do you try Ellis again anyway to get that speed? Or do you go Gibbons or Mapu, or how do you navigate that? But and I'm also curious from the perspective of, all right, how many strikes do you get? How many times do you get benched before Vrabel says, all right, we're pulling the plug on you and we're going to play someone different? And I'm sure that's going to change depending on the depth chart and the position, specifically how guys are playing. It's not going to be perfectly consistent across all positions. What Ramondre Stevenson would need to do to get benched is not the same as what Christian Ellis would need to do to get benched and all that. But definitely something I'll be watching. And then Andy Borregales, he had 1 extra point that was a little bit close today, but still 6 for 6 on extra points.
Yep.
Nailing it. Bouncing back. Love to see that.
And that's exactly what you're looking for, right? And I think that this team is headed in the right direction. Now, look, am I going to sit here and tell you that the Carolina Panthers were a great test for the Patriots and that after what we saw today, we should be, expecting the Patriots going to Buffalo and win on Sunday night next week, and and the Patriots are now going to be competing for a playoff spot and all that stuff? No, but I do think you have to play who you play, right? You can't control what the schedule says, right? And so you can play a bad team like the Raiders and lose. You can play a bad team like the Dolphins and take it all the way to the carpet and almost lose but win. You can play a bad team like the Steelers, and yes, the Steelers are a bad team. I don't care what anyone says. The Steelers are not a good team, and lose again. Or you can play a bad team like the Panthers and blow them out. Yeah, they look good today. Was it against the bad Panthers team? Yes. I don't care. I still think that that's a good thing that they're looking good. Now, listen, again, they have to keep this going. And if they can if they make some noise against Buffalo next week, and they're able to go into Buffalo and at least show us something. I don't expect them to win that game. They're not as good as Buffalo's, I don't know, a top 5 team in the NFL, and they're not 5. So, they're up there at 1 or 2, right? And so it's going to be a tough game. They're probably going to lose. But if they can compete, then I think that makes a difference. And, we'll see. But this is where we want to see some of these things. Hey, Drake May's playing better, and, whatever. Christian Gonzalez is back, and so on and so forth. And the defensive, and it's like, okay, can we keep that kind of going as we move forward?
Well, I think we're too far into this podcast without talking about Drake May today, because he was sensational again. And this version of Drake May, I was someone that was more pessimistic on the Patriots this season. The biggest driver for that for me was I just thought there were going to be ups and downs with May. New offense, not sure about the personnel, and I thought it was going to be a little inconsistent. And you might lose some games you shouldn't because he might just have a bad day, and the rest of the roster is not good enough to prop him up. So far, we're 4 games in, and he has a bad day in the first one, and everything that went wrong in the first game, he has corrected since then. And he is playing like a top 10 quarterback in the NFL right now. I don't know how else to say that. He's playing like that guy. There's a lot of good plays today, but the one I want to highlight was the one that was an inch away from being a touchdown to Hunter Henry when they got into the red zone. Because it's third down in what were they at, the 12-yard line or something. You're in that real congested area of the field. And with you look at last week where you get a ball deflected at the line in that area and it turns into a pick. That's the kind of stuff that happens down there because windows get tight and you have to read what's going on faster and deliver the ball more accurately there. And Carolina brings a blitz on third down. And Maye immediately recognizes where the blitzer is coming from, knows where the hole is in the coverage because of where the blitzer is coming from, and puts the ball in a football-sized window to Hunter Henry perfectly in time to move the chains and be, an inch away from getting into the end zone. And just that maturity and the quickness of reading the defense, the accuracy on the delivery. These are the things we were looking for in the next step. And there's a lot of other plays we can talk about in here, but that was the one that caught my eye. And if he is playing like that and you get, let's say 13 of the 17 games they play this year, you're going to get this version of Drake May. You're going to have a winning record. They're going to have a chance to win next week because he's that type of quarterback right now. And that's why you drafted him. Quarterbacks are your offense. You can do all kinds of stuff. You can scheme up things, but the quarterback is the engine, and he's humming right now. So it could just be in some way the defenses they faced, but the tape's the tape, and his is fantastic. 3 incompletions today, and one of them was just a throwaway as he's running out of bounds to avoid a sack. He's dialed in. He's been
awesome, and efficiency was. I mean, he attempted 17 passes today, right? It's not like he was all, but he didn't have to do more than that, right? The passes that he made, the throw to Diggs, across the middle on third down, third and long, right? That's a huge play. The long completion back shoulder pass to Diggs up 35-6, right? It's those types of plays where you're looking at it saying, yeah, he's making the right read, he's making the right throw, and of course the Henry one that you mentioned, but it's all of these plays combined and put together, and he's making the right read and he's making the right throw. And listen, is it perfect? No, I didn't like the fact that, Keyshawn Boutte wide open, and Boutte may not have scored a touchdown, but he would have gone a long way, and he threw it short, and Boutte had to come back and basically dive for it. Made a nice catch, diving for it, but he shouldn't have to do that, right? He's wide open. Just set your feet and throw it and hit him and let him run, right? And, that seems to happen once or twice a game, and obviously that's not ideal. It's not what you're looking for. But, it's one of those things where you look at it and say, this is it. But I think that I think that he's turned into a phenomenal player. And this is one of those interesting questions where, so this, Israel being too hard on Maye, like he never mentions Drake Maye. How many times did Bill Belichick talk about Tom Brady? How many times did Bill Belichick just like effusively praise Tom Brady? Not many times. Why? Because he was the best player on the field. He was expected to be the best player on the field. And I think that Vrabel is looking at him saying, you're the best player on the field. The expectation is you're going to be the best player on the field in every game. That's the expectation. That's what we think that you're capable of. We think that you're that good. And so I don't need to, dump effusive praise on you because you're doing exactly what we think that you should be doing because that's the type of player that we think you are. Now, listen, do I think that, after that you could, right? You could say, I'd like to see a little bit more out of Vrabel, but everyone's going to be talking about Drake Maye. No one's talking about Pop Douglas's blocks downfield. A lot of people aren't talking about Christian Barmore's play in the middle of the field because he had 0 tackles and 0 assists today, right? People aren't talking about that. Those guys deserve to be mentioned because of what they contributed. Made Pop just on one specific play and Barmore all game long. And so he's going to mention those guys. I'm sure he'll go through and mention Drake Maye when he needs to, but Drake Maye is the guy. And he's preparing Maye for you're the guy. We don't have to talk about you all the time because everyone's talking about you all the time because you're the guy. And so I don't have to mention you in my press conferences because you're doing exactly what we want you to do. We think you're a top 10 quarterback in the NFL and you're proving us right.
And I think that I will say, Vrabel had Maye do the breakdown in the locker room.
I think he's had him do that, I think, all year.
Well, he's trying to get Maye to be a leader. And where I think we saw that? I think the first little bit of character coming out of Maye was him doing the rushing touchdown and then doing the Superman celebration after. And that awesome. To me was that was me seeing Vrabel in him. And obviously a lot of that is Maye being a Panthers fan, growing up and loving Cam Newton and getting the chance to do Cam Newton celebration, scoring a rushing touchdown against the team he grew up rooting for. That's obvious. But Vrabel has clearly been pushing him towards showing a little bit more emotion on the field, just to rally the guys around him. And the fact that he's feeling confident enough to go out there and just rip out a celebration, I love that. He's starting to feel himself, which you need. He's never going to be Brady was always a very fiery, emotional guy. Right. Always. Maye's not that. But just little bits of that I love to see. Yeah. Which that rushing touchdown was also that was awesome.
It's a great play by him. It was really nice. What's funny is that I assume he had Kyle Williams in the back of the end zone covered. My assumption is that the pass wasn't to Kyle Williams. It was intended to be for Hooper, and they covered Hooper. Yeah. But he stuck the ball out, basically to show Hooper he was running so that Hooper could turn around and make a block. And I thought that was really I thought that was a really nice play.
Well, what I was thinking about was Thursday night, Kyler Murray throws that pick over the middle of the field on the route where Marvin Harrison stops running because Marvin Harrison thinks Kyler's about to scramble and he's turning around to block somebody. Right. And the fact that you see that from a guy who's been in the league since 2019, and then you look at Maye, a guy who hasn't even been starting for a full year, and he is calling out blocks and setting things up while he's running. It's all right, he's taking that leadership. He knows what he wants to do, and he's directing the guys, which is what you got to do. And I also think he's so comfortable with the play action rollout stuff, and it's so dangerous with him because if he rolls out, you need you have to cover all the receivers on that side, and you need to have a man for Maye. You absolutely have to, or he's going to kill you with his legs. Right. So I'm sure that there will be things we saw it already where they do the throwback where they roll Maye out to one side and then Hooper leaks out the backside and they threw it to him. They did that down in Miami. And that's how you take advantage of that because when you start the rollout, defenses are going to commit hard to one side because they know Maye wants to run. And then you can get things to the backside. And we've seen Josh McDaniels do this with some of those screen designs before too. And I bet they're going to mix some of that in. So
when they used the Hunter Henry touchdown is another great example. He rolls to his left, just like he did on the touchdown. And he approaches the line of scrimmage. And so the linebacker comes up, which allows Henry to get behind him. He makes a nice side-on throw to Henry, who breaks a tackle. And again, Pop Douglas makes a really nice double block down the field. And Hunter Henry, takes it in from 30 yards out or whatever for a touchdown. And that's set up because Drake Maye's a good runner, and they have to respect the fact that he can run the football. And so when you have to do that, it opens up guys behind them to get open. And I think that, they've done a really nice job using his legs to their advantage. And, and that's something that you want to see.
Yeah, and it doesn't show up in the overall stats. I think he finished with 11 rushing yards or something like that today. But it's a lot of little plays. And this is also something we've kind of talked about in here for a while. It's just needing a quarterback who changes the math for defenses in some ways and who's a game changer. Just because you have to respect this with Maye, that's another thing that defenses have to plan for when they play you. It's another way that they are stressed. It's another opportunity for somebody to blow a coverage or make a mistake. I'm sure one of these times they're going to set out to stop Maye running, and like we saw with Henry, he's going to pass it, or I'm sure one of these eventually they're going to get a deep play over the top on that side because someone's going to blow a coverage, and it all gets set up because you show that you're able to do something in week 4, and then the rest of the season, for the rest of his career, opposing defenses now know, all right, you do this thing, so we have to have a plan to take away that thing.
Yeah, I agree. I thought Tyler Kraft scored a touchdown, and he didn't. Dang it. Fantasy purposes. Doesn't matter otherwise. But
is it ad read time here real quick?
Ad read time. Let's do it. This ad read, of course, is for Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to turn your sports knowledge into real money. This is daily fantasy sports, people. You got to get in on the action on Prize Picks. My lineup today was so good, and I blew it. Eric Maynor, I had him for more than 2.5 receptions. I should have had him for more than 1.5 receptions, and I only ended up with 2. And so it didn't work out. But they're always giving away free squares. They had a free Jalen Hurts square this week. I bet you they'll have a new free square for next week. They also have Flex Fridays, which means that you have a flex. If you opt in, you got to opt in now. But if you opt in, that play is protected for the week, which is great. Or for the weekend, I should say, if it's on Friday. And you get that money back in lineups if that lineup doesn't hit. I also love the fact that you can mix and match what you're doing, right? You can do football, and you can do baseball, and you can do tennis, and you can do soccer, and you can do women's basketball, and then again, and even MMA and esports, and pretty soon baseball's coming back, and basketball's coming back, and hockey's coming back. And you know what you could do? You can combine all those together in one lineup. And so what you're going to do is download the app Prize Picks, put in the promo code CLNS. When you play your first $5 lineup, you're going to get $50 in lineups. Again, download the app Prize Picks, put in the promo code CLNS. And when you do that, when you play your first $5 lineup, you will get $50 in lineups. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Okay. Whew. I tell you, so Drake's was awesome. Milton Williams, worth every penny. Worth every penny. He's just a beast. And I mentioned Christian Barmore, and Barmore, again, had 0 stats today. Nothing. Had no tackles, no assists, no sacks, no nothing, right?
It hasn't had 2 QB hits. 2 QB
well,
hits.
That's correct. But I mean, in the regular, in the regular stat book, right, had nothing. But he's constantly in the backfield. He got tackled 6 times today by offensive linemen and got 0 holding calls. So I was so mad. I'm like, he's breaking through the line, getting tackled. But him and Milton Williams in the middle, and Kyrus Tonga has been awesome too. The 3 of them in the middle really, for me, changes this entire defense. And, Caleb Von Chasen, I've had just about enough of Caleb Von Chasen. I'm annoyed. but Landry's played well, and the combination of those 3 with Landry, and I think Joshua Farmer's done a pretty nice job, kind of filling in here and there. This
What's
Patriots
this?
defensive
Who's
line has a real
the
chance to be awesome.
and then who's the Durden? Is that his name?
Yeah, Jordan, I thought played pretty well today too. I
He
mean,
had a
again,
play.
Carolina doesn't have a good offensive line, but still.
And they got guys out. Yeah. But yeah, Corey Durden. He had a tackle TFL today. Love it.
Yeah. Yep.
And that has been a strength. Carolina did not want to run up the middle, I don't think, either. They were trying to run to the outside.
Yeah.
And it's just this is again like I said about offense. Drake Maye is now something that opposing defenses have to game plan for.
Mm-hmm.
The defensive tackle room right now for offenses is something you have to game plan for, which that's going to be a very fun matchup in Buffalo. We'll dive deeper into that on Wednesday. But that offensive line against New England's defensive tackles, I'm fascinated about that. But no, Milton Williams and Christian Barmore is just like, I think, one of the best duos at the position. And Tonga was such a savvy signing, someone who anchors well enough in the running game and he penetrates well.
Yeah.
And that combined with the others is like, you can really wreck stuff for opposing offenses that way. And
It's true.
yeah. By the way, if you go off the ball here, did you see who led the Patriots in tackles today?
I did not. Was it Craig Woodson?
Jack Gibbons.
That makes sense. Jack, he had a heck of a game today.
Yeah, he's. Yeah, I think it should be Spillane and Gibbons going forward.
I think so
he's
too.
not. They're not the best coverage guys, but what you need at the linebacker position, I think it's going to be two things. One, it's going to be cleanup duty. You're going to get penetration from the defensive line. It's not always going to result in a tackle, but it's going to result in disruption. So then when that disruption happens, you need linebackers that can read through the chaos, figure out where the running back's trying to get to now, and clean it up and make the tackle. And then teams are not going to want to run up the middle on you, so you need backers that can get to the edge and make plays. And those guys have been able to do it. Credit to them for it. And after a rough first couple of games, I think Robert Spillane's here now.
Yeah, finally. He played another good game today. He had one play where he came in, ran through a tackler, and then ran through a blocker and made the tackle like through the block as he was getting blocked. It was impressive. He just he's been awesome. And so that's the type of thing for me that's what I like to see. I am happy that it's happening. And this is the guy that we thought we were getting, right? In the first two games, we didn't get that. And now we are. And so it's okay. We didn't get it the first two games. We're getting it now. So I'll take it.
Yep. Well, and this is, again, I think something we talked about, like the way we look at these first four games is going to be determined by what happens the rest of the season. If they play well the rest of the season, we're going to talk about it as, all right, well, September's an extension of the preseason. It took them a couple games to lock in.
Yeah.
But to earn that, you got to win the other games. So that's we're out of September here. You're 2-2. You're at 500. You haven't, you're quite frankly, you might end up being one of the best teams in the AFC right now. They're tied for fourth in point differential with Kansas City on the season right now. So and the AFC is absolutely wide open. I think
trash.
If you look at the standings right now, hold on. Let me pull this up because it's like the Bills are the clear number one right now.
Yep.
Jets and the Dolphins don't have wins. Presumably that's going to be changed tomorrow night, although maybe they tie. I wouldn't put it past me. The Steelers are on top of the AFC North right now with Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
And I just don't. That team seems so lucky so far this year.
Yep.
I don't think they're good. I don't think they're bad. I think they're going to be another Mike Tomlin team. They probably end up getting 10 wins and getting bounced in the first round. That feels like the Steelers. But Bengals don't have Joe Burrow. The Ravens apparently just aren't good.
They're a mess. That team is a mess.
Yeah. The Browns aren't good. The two teams atop the AFC South are quarterbacked by Daniel Jones and Trevor Lawrence. And the Texans have no offensive line, and the Titans somehow have even less of an offensive line. So no one in that division threatens me in any way. When the AFC West, all right, the Chiefs, I think, are probably going to end up bouncing back here just because they have Patrick Mahomes, and like compared to these other teams that already puts them
Right.
above. But the Chargers today, they lost both. I think they've probably lost both of their starting tackles for the season now, who were two of the best players on their offense.
I did hear that they say Joe Alt might be a high ankle sprain.
Okay.
And if
All
that's the case, then he's not gone for
Overturned.
the year. He'll just be gone for a few weeks.
Yeah.
Which obviously makes a huge difference. But I mean, still, it's like even if he's out for 3 weeks, that's a chunk. That's a good chunk of time.
Yeah. And they look bad today with the rest that they have in their offensive line.
Yeah.
So this conference is wide open. And if Drake Maye keeps playing like this, I mean, he's the second best quarterback in the AFC East. He would be the second best quarterback in the AFC North. He'd be the best quarterback in the AFC South. And I don't know where he stacks up in the West with Herbert and Mahomes. He's probably third best out there. But top 5 quarterback in the conference.
Yeah.
Right now with Burrow being out, if he keeps playing like this, we should probably talk about playoffs as a realistic expectation for this team. Now, obviously, this needs to keep happening. It can't be a one-off. But
right.
I've seen it 3 weeks in a row now. He's looked like that guy.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the offensive line, Nikhil mentioned it here that, by the way, he also said Drake Maye MVP conversation, which, by the way, I think is at this point, with the numbers he's put up, is legitimate. But that's another discussion for another day. But Will Campbell stud. And Will Campbell played well today and did not look good last week. But outside of last week, has looked solid in every game so far. And I think that this is one of those things where you're just hoping that he continues to get better. And again, I think that he's pretty good. I think. But again, left tackle. Been saying it.
I want to see it's tough for Will Campbell because it's just the evaluation at this point because Carolina's pass rush has not been good and he stalemated him today. He was awesome today.
Yeah.
He's had one game that I would say was bad so far. And it was against Nick Herbig, who's very good.
Right.
Nick Herbig had one of the best pressure rates of anyone today too against Minnesota, who Minnesota's offensive line is also in shambles. So we'll see how much these numbers mean in the grand scheme of things. But we'll see. It'll be a test this week against Buffalo. They got a good edge rush. I think Campbell has exceeded my expectations so far. We'll see where he ends up, But today, he was excellent. The whole line was. I will say, the way they played today, we might have to have a conversation about that left guard spot. I got to look at the tape first. But Ben Brown seemed pretty good at left guard.
Yeah. Well, and again, is that a result of Carolina just not being good? Or is that a result of Ben Brown? And you said before that you thought Ben Brown was one of the 5 best guys. If that's the case, if Ben Brown is one of the 5 best guys, then he should be playing. Now, I know Jared Wilson has potential, and you're thinking that Jared Wilson, could eventually be your starting center, maybe, or whatever the case may be. But if Ben Brown gives you the best chance to win today, he should be playing. And so we'll see. But
and that'll be something they'll have to figure out. And I think, look, if this, we talked about in the preseason and back in free agency, if Onwenu and Moses are locked in as your right side, and Will Campbell's locked in at left tackle, you have a little bit of flexibility to tinker with the left guard and center spots. And I don't even know if you're going to tinker with center because Garrett Bradbury's been fine. So you can tinker with left guard spot until you find what works for you. And if Ben Brown's better right now, you can play Ben Brown. And if Jared Wilson's better in November, you can play Jared Wilson in November, and that's fine. This isn't like last year or many of the past couple years where you're kind of just hopelessly throwing different players each week at the problem between injuries and depth charts, just trying to find something that might be passable. I think the line as a whole will be passable regardless of who's in there right now, at least without more injuries than they have. This top 6, I think it'll be passable. Can you get it to good? We'll see. But, you have to be happy with how the line played today.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's all you can hope for, right? Will they have a tougher test this week against the Bills? Absolutely, they will. But you got to hope that they rise to the challenge, and they continue to get better as the season goes on. They can only play against teams they play against,
Yep.
Defensively, was there any other guys you want to talk about? Well, I guess was there any other notes that you had, either offensively or defensively?
I would like for the edges to figure out where the line of scrimmage is. Anthony Jennings, calling you out here because it's another penalty there. Which how does that happen? Let's clean that up. I do wonder if maybe that's because they're so keen on penetration that maybe they're just a little bit antsy at the line.
Could be the case, yeah.
But I think Kyle Duggar has looked better with each week. I don't know if I want him to be a starter yet, but especially going against Josh Allen this week, I feel like he's going to have to play a role there. He had a hit on special teams that was good. I think his physicality is back. I think Craig Woodson had a good day today. Yeah, he had that one that he dove on that he should have picked off that he didn't, which was an exceptional play. I think that was first quarter.
That was a really nice play. Yeah.
I have a couple. I think we mentioned before. I just had to say, Josh Farmer. I like him.
Yeah,
there's something there, and they're top 4 at defensive tackle. That has very mean potential. I have another offensive one. If we want to jump over there real quick,
let's do it.
We mentioned Pop Douglas blocking down the field. How about Mac Hollins blocking down the field on I think it was the big Ramondre run? Just awesome stuff.
Yeah,
kicking ass blocking down the field, which that's culture setting. That's why you bring Hollins in, because he can do that and stuff. And then I'm gonna get that's motivating Pop to be all right, I gotta be able to do this too. And that sequence of the back-to-back runs where they put the running back in the slot and they hit the jet sweep to Antonio Gibson on the first one, he takes it for a big play, and you come back and you hand it to Ramondre on the traditional handoff on the next one, he takes that for a big play, was awesome.
Yeah,
great stuff from Josh McDaniels. And I feel like this is the kind of creative stuff that they've tried lately, and the guys just haven't been good enough, haven't been well coached enough to execute it. And it's all right, now they can execute it. So, that sequence, Josh McDaniels was awesome today.
I agree with you. Yeah, I've also beef from Ohio here. Carlton Davis, a walking PI. He's not wrong. Carlton Davis, every time he gets beat, I feel like he's grabbing or pulling or doing. And I know that some of that is, veteran kind of stuff, but you can't be grabbing the guy's undershirt and pulling it 15 feet back. It's just what are you doing, dude? I think he's okay and he'll be fine, but he didn't play great today. I don't think, at least.
Well, I don't know. It's tough to tell. I got to look up some of his past stats on how many penalties he draws. I thought one of them today was a good call. I thought the other one wasn't necessarily. I do wonder if he has a label of being handsy and then he's getting some ticky-tack calls because people just see him as someone. He might just be getting a little unlucky. I thought he and Christian Gonzalez were fine today.
Yeah.
They didn't
wow
me necessarily, but they were fine. That's all you really need. You need better next week, but today, fine. We'll say on defense, I didn't notice Keon White a lot, except for the one play I saw him getting blocked very easily down the field by a tight end, which it's the same complaint for me as we had week 1 as a rookie with him, which is that he doesn't consistently know how to use his hands. So and he can't re-engage with them. If you knock his hands off at the start of a rep, he's done. His play's over. There's nothing. He's lost. There's nothing he can do to contribute. He can't. He has no way to use that strength again or to get his hands involved again, which is concerning.
It's frustrating with him because I thought he was going to really take a leap, and he didn't. And that's it just is what it is, and we'll see if he can get better as the year goes on, but he has not done that so far. So
he's gonna have opportunities because the edge, first of all, they're rotating everyone on the defensive line, and the other guys aren't good enough to take all his snaps away. So he's gonna keep getting looks, and hopefully he's able to turn them into something productive.
Yeah, I agree.
We've gone too long on here without talking about Stefon Diggs having a 100-yard game.
Yeah, I think he's 22 straight games for him. Breaks a streak of 22 straight games for him. And I thought he played exceptionally well. He's a guy that if he can play the way that he has played consistently, this offense is going to be awesome. And for me, I look at it and say, okay, not only if he can play the way he's played, but also if he can be that guy in the slot, right? And we kind of talked about him moving into the slot, and I love the fact that they moved him into the slot. If he can do that, man, they have a real shot here to make some noise offensively, because I think Diggs brings that juice to the offense that they really didn't have before.
Well, and his ability, making plays out of the slot, but then put him outside on fourth down, and he makes a play down the field, and he and Maye being in sync on it is like, if he and Maye develop that connection there, and I think he said after the game, he was asked how comfortable he feels in this offense. I think he still said 5 out of 10. So there's a lot of room to grow, and I think athletically he's looked a little bit better each week. And just all right, if you can get a little more comfortable each week and add things in, he can be your wide receiver 1. And I don't know, if the line can be adequate, if Maye is able to operate with this much consistency and accuracy, and Diggs can be good for you as a receiver, this offense can be legitimately good, especially because I think the run game is coming. You're gonna have in the passing game, you're gonna be able to operate all the short game stuff you want because Maye can do it. You're gonna be able to have some threat down the field because of Diggs, and then Maye can run. All right, well, if you have all that, you're in business. You're a real offense.
Yeah. 100%. And then, you toss in Kyle Williams and what Kayshon Bouttie's brought to the table. And I know Boutte hasn't been targeted as much as I would like, but every time he gets targeted, I feel like he proves over and over and over again how good of a receiver he is when he gets targeted. And so we'll see. We'll see. But I was happy about that today. And I really feel like it takes a while to come back from that ACL. And the fact that he's kind of, I don't want to say he's all the way back, but the fact that he looked this good 4 games into the season, is a good thing moving forward. And I feel like there was one play, I don't know if it was a running play or not, but he was blocking and a guy kind of went flying off and hit him in the back of the leg. Mm-hmm. And when he got hit in the back of the leg, he went down and took a second getting up, but he was fine. But he was got hit kind of in the back of the knee and was kind of oh, all right, I'm okay. All right, no big deal. I think it was more a scared thing, and he's oh, all right, no, cool, all right, we're good. And I think that's, that's a good thing to see, a good sign.
Oh yeah, no, it's awesome. I think they had 3 explosive plays to him today.
Yeah,
pretty sure 2 completions over the middle and the long one down the sideline.
Yep,
it's 7 explosive plays today, which is what we've been begging.
You've been looking for.
And again, this is we just talked about putting defenses in conflict and making them have to respond to things. All right, well, the fact that the last 3 weeks, Maye has diced up teams underneath, now the intermediate and deep opportunities are there because defenses are coming up trying to stop that stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's this is what allows a quarterback to take things to the next level. And I am so excited to see where things can go with Drake Maye because he has been everything we could have expected, I think, to this point in his career. I mean, he is. When there was discussion with Drake Maye about him kind of being on the Josh Allen timeline, there was a very large contingent of Patriots fans, or at least very loud contingent of Patriots fans, that wanted him to sit all of last season and then start playing this year. And if he's on the Josh Allen timeline, that means that he's not hitting his potential until year 3, year 4.
Right.
We're here in September of year 2. And he is finding it. And this is why I said I was okay with playing him last year. Because I was he can handle this stuff. And he has. And the growth he's seen, we've seen has been fantastic. I am so excited for the rest of the season with him. That's.
Yeah. Well, I think, one of the things that we talked about here earlier on was that what we really were looking for was for him to make the easy plays, make the easy plays, make the easy throws, make those simple plays. And then you can make those sensational plays, but make the simple plays first. And he's done that. He's taken that step to making those simple plays. Does he miss throws every now and again? He does. He does. But for the most part, he's making good, accurate throws, the ones that he should be making. And if he's doing that, that changes the game. And I really think that, this is the type of guy that we're seeing. And again, he's going to have to do. Let's see him do it. I want to see him do it against good competition. I want to see him do it against really good really good defenses like the Bills have. He's going to get an opportunity to do that. But I like what I've seen so far, and I'm optimistic for the future. And again, how good can he get to it by the end of the year? It's going to be fun.
We've seen the sprays and some of the throws we've been frustrated with, obviously, but this is all right. So this isn't updated for today's game, but even before today's game, his adjusted accuracy for PFF. So that just means that how often you throw the ball when it's on target. So if the receiver drops it, they're not counting it against your completion percentage. They're saying, all right, he got the ball where it's supposed to be.
Right.
He was 8th in the NFL. He's very accurate quarterback, 79%. So 4 out of every 5 throws he makes are on target.
Yeah.
That's very good. And
that's really good.
The best quarterbacks on this, Tyrod Taylor is at the top. I'm not really counting that because he hadn't played that much. Dak Prescott's at 82.6. So he's, we're talking 1 throw a game difference, probably, maybe even less than that, from Dak, who's at the top of the accuracy charts right now.
Right.
I know that all the bad throws that Maye makes get put under a microscope because of his track record and his profile coming out, but on the whole, it's been fantastic. He's way more accurate than he was last year.
I agree. Yeah, and that's all you're looking for from him. Again, make those easy plays. Don't make throws in the dirt when you have guys open. And he's done that for the most part. And that's really, I've been really happy to see that. And again, that's the path. That's the path to being the guy, to being a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. And I think he's on the way to doing that.
Yeah. By the way, for context, he ranked 24th in that stat last year. He was about 74%, 75% last year.
Yeah.
So he basically went from 3 out of every 4 throws are going to be on target to 4 out of every 5 throws are going to be on target, which is awesome. And he's also he is ahead of where Josh Allen was at this point in his career.
Way ahead.
Want to make that comparison? He is a much, much better quarterback than Josh Allen was week 4 of his second season.
Yeah.
And which is, obviously we don't know if Drake Maye is going to be able to hit that next tier where Allen is. I think he has all the tools to do it. It's just a matter of actually going out and doing it.
Correct. I agree.
I can't wait to watch.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I hope.
Most excited I have been about watching the Patriots now in a while, because I have more confidence than I've had in a long time that we have the quarterback to compete with anyone. Yeah.
And there's, you're excited about some of these players. And I think that makes a huge difference, Yeah. So
I will say this week in Boston right now, we got Maye playing like this, Red Sox going to the playoffs, and that video of Jason Tatum looking how healthy he looks right now.
Whew. Goodness sake, dude.
That's when I saw. Remember how we saw the video of Diggs at camp, with him running, and it was oh yeah, he's not going to miss any time. Right away. I saw the video of Jason Tatum. It's oh yeah, he's going to play this season.
Yeah.
With the quality and exactly how much I don't know, but look at him. Look at how
he's 100% playing. Yep.
Which is awesome. So
it's pretty awesome. Yeah. I think it does it for us, man. I'm watching this game. I'm rooting for the Packers, obviously, but just fantasy football, man. I'm playing a game against a guy who has Josh Jacobs and I have Tucker Kraft. And Tucker Kraft twice has been tackled at the 1 yard line twice. And one of those times ended with a Josh Jacobs touchdown. And now Josh Jacobs scored another touchdown. And it's like, I'm like, come on, man. Could you just like help me out a little bit? If one of those Tucker Kraft touchdowns is a touchdown for Tucker Kraft, it's a 12-point swing. That's a big deal. But you know, the joys of fantasy football. So
if we're doing the fantasy stuff real quick, let me hold on. I gotta bring up some awful start-sit decisions.
Oh yeah, you gotta love those. I
started TJ Hawkinson, and I've got Kyle Pitts on my bench with 10 more points than Hawkinson had. I started Chase Brown, who hasn't even played yet, at running back. I've got Woody Marks, the Houston running back, on my bench.
You're not starting Woody Marks over Chase Brown. Come on, man.
But like having a 28-point on my bench hurts.
Yes. But there's no sane person was starting Woody Marks. Woody Marks isn't starting Woody Marks in fantasy this week over Chase Brown. So, like, you know, it's.
I've got Khalil Shakir on my bench with 18 points, and Ladd McConkey in my starting lineup with 2.
Yep.
So I'm about to be 0-4 in this.
Oh, that's rough, dude.
With just though, and I have Drake Maye on my bench because I was like, I'm gonna play Fields because it's Miami's defense, and I still don't feel bad about that. I feel like Fields is gonna have a good game, but it's like, all right, if he doesn't play well, I'm just gonna be looking at my bench being like, man.
Yep. But you know, hey, play best ball, then you don't have to worry about it. So, but. Anyways, that does it for us tonight. We'll be back with you this week talking about the Bills game. Listen, I know the Bills game's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I get it. Celebrate for a day or two. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about the Bills just yet. And enjoy the game because I think the Patriots have a chance to at least compete. They might not win, but they have a chance to at least compete, and that's fun.
We played them to a 3-point game last year with that team.
Yeah.
We can compete.
You never know. And the Bills should have blown out the last 2 teams that they played and did not. Right? You know, a bad Dolphins team and a bad Saints team. And they ended up winning by 12 against the Saints. But, like, those are 2 bad teams that the Bills couldn't blow out. So I think the Patriots are better than a bad team. I don't expect us to win, but I do expect us to compete in that game. And if you compete, then you never know. You give yourself a chance at the end of the game, and you never know what's going to happen. So
if we get some fumble luck our way.
Yep. Yeah, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? So, but anyways, thanks for tuning in, everyone. We appreciate you, and thanks for tuning in, and thanks for the chat. And
Wednesday night after the Sox game,
probably Wednesday or Thursday night. We'll
it'll have to be Wednesday for me this week.
Oh, okay. So, well, then Wednesday after the Sox game, it is then.
Yes.
There you go. So, all right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Be good to each other, and go Pats.